Welcome to Headstones and Microphones, where we use AI to step into the past through a researched, first-person simulation of history's most interesting people. I am your host, Calvin. While we've added some creative storytelling, our goal is to inspire your own study of these fascinating lives. Now, let's meet our guest. For those who may somehow not know who you are, who are you?
Hello, Calvin. I am Anna Bissell, though many people in the business world might know me as America's first female corporate CEO, leading the Bissell Carpet Sweeper Company for many wonderful years.
When and where were you born?
I was born on December 2nd, 1846, in a lovely little place called River John, located in Pictou County, Nova Scotia, Canada.
What was your given name at birth?
My given name at birth was Anna Sutherland.
Is there a story behind your birth name?
My family background is Scottish, so the name Sutherland connected me right back to our ancestral roots. My father, William Sutherland, was a daring maritime captain, and my mother, Eleanor, chose a simple, strong name for me as the youngest of their 5 children.
What was your hometown like growing up?
When I was just a little girl of 4, my family left Nova Scotia and moved to De Pere, Wisconsin. Back then, De Pere was a beautiful, bustling agricultural area right on the river. It was full of hard-working, ambitious settlers from all over, and it was a wonderful, safe place surrounded by nature and community spirit.
What was your family life like?
It was very lively and filled with grand stories. Since my father was a sea captain who had sailed around Cape Horn, survived 3 shipwrecks, and visited places like Australia and New Zealand, our home was always filled with his incredible tales of global adventure. He taught us to be brave and curious about the world.
What kind of kid were you?
I was rather focused, determined, and eager to learn. I took my studies very seriously and grew up quickly, wanting to make a meaningful contribution to the world around me as soon as I could.
What did you dream of becoming as a child?
Growing up in a fast-developing frontier town, I wanted to pass knowledge along to others. I dreamed of education and leadership, which led me to become a school teacher in Wisconsin at the young age of 16.
What was your first job?
My very first job was teaching school children. I even recall teaching out of an ox cart at one point. It required a great deal of patience, organization, and a loud enough voice to keep everyone's attention.
What's a decision that changed everything for you, but felt small at the time?
It was the simple day-to-day work in the small crockery and china shop that my husband, Melville Bissell, and I ran in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Our inventory arrived packed tightly in heavy wooden crates filled with sawdust and straw. Every time we unpacked the beautiful dishes, a massive, stubborn mess of sawdust would scatter and embed itself deeply into our shop carpets. Sweeping it up with standard brooms was an absolute nightmare and just pushed a cloud of dust into the air.
What was your biggest break?
My brilliant husband, Melville, grew so tired of that sawdust problem that he used his inventive mind to build a mechanical carpet sweeper with a revolving brush that gathered the dirt safely into a container. The real break came when our friends and shop customers saw it in action and begged to buy one for themselves. I immediately recognized how much this would lighten the heavy, exhausting drudgery of housework for women everywhere. So I took to the road as our star salesperson. I traveled from town to town making sales calls, and I even personally convinced the legendary merchant, John Wanamaker, to carry our sweepers in his massive Philadelphia department stores.
What were your biggest struggles before success?
Oh, we had a major trial in 1884. Our 5-story manufacturing factory in Grand Rapids caught fire and was completely destroyed. It felt like everything we built was gone in an instant. But I didn't let us give up. I stepped right in and successfully secured a sizable bank loan by mortgaging our home and properties so we could rebuild the factory and get our workers back to work.
Did you ever consider quitting?
Never. When you have a family to support and hundreds of employees counting on you for their livelihood, quitting simply isn't an option. You just have to square your shoulders and push forward.
Were there any specific daily habits or routines that you feel are essential to your success?
It was said about me that I studied business the way other women of my era studied French. My essential routine was absolute thoroughness. I made it a daily habit to master every single facet of our business, from the factory floor assembly to the complicated legalities of patents and international shipping guidelines.
What job would you have had if fame never happened?
I imagine I would have remained a school teacher, or perhaps dedicated myself entirely to full-time charitable organization work in the community.
What was your life like before fame?
It was full of quiet, steady partnership. Melville and I were completely devoted to each other's happiness and interests. We worked side by side in our shops, counting our pennies, dreaming big, and raising our beautiful children.
How did relationships change after success?
Success allowed me to expand my circle of care. In business, I viewed our workers as an extension of my responsibility, so I introduced progressive labor policies like workmen's compensation and pension plans long before they were common. Outside of work, it allowed me to partner with incredible community organizations, like serving on the board of the Blodgett Home for Children and establishing the Bissell House to help provide recreation and training for local youth and immigrant women.
Did fame bring happiness?
True happiness for me never came from public recognition. It came from knowing I was useful, helping to ease the burden of everyday housewives and ensuring our workers were secure and cared for. That is what brought real joy to my heart.
Who had the biggest influence on your life?
My husband, Melville. His creative, inventive spirit and his complete faith in my abilities as a true partner in both life and business gave me the foundation to achieve everything I did.
What were you working on in your career before you passed away?
I remained deeply involved as the chair of the board for the company, ensuring we maintained our high standards of quality, protecting our global trademarks, and navigating the difficult financial times of the Great Depression without laying off our dedicated workers.
When and where and how did you pass away, and how old were you?
I passed away on November 8, 1934 in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I was 87.
What's a random fact about you most people have never heard?
Our carpet sweepers actually found their way into the British Royal Palace. Queen Victoria herself was a massive fan of our invention and strictly insisted that her royal carpets be Bisselled every single week.
What was your most unique habit?
I had an unyielding habit of examining the fine details of our product personally. Even as the corporate executive, I wasn't above dropping to the floor to inspect the brush mechanisms or testing a sweeper myself to guarantee it worked flawlessly.
What advice would you give people chasing success?
Do not look at challenges as insurmountable walls. Look at them as opportunities to find a creative solution. Know every detail of your trade. Treat your employees with deep respect and fairness. And always remember that true leadership is about serving and uplifting others.
Do you have any closing remarks about the interview or the stories you shared that you would like to share with the listeners before we sign off?
I just want to remind everyone listening that no matter what barriers or societal expectations stand in your way, determination, hard work, and a kind heart can open doors you never thought possible. Thank you so much for having me on your wonderful show, Calvin. It was an absolute delight.
What an incredible journey from an ox cart schoolhouse to running a global empire. A huge thank you to the trailblazing Anna Bissell for sharing her story with us today. And that wraps up another conversation from Beyond the Grave. Thanks for joining us on the Headstones and Microphones podcast. Remember, legends may die, but their stories never do. Please help spread the word by sharing and following the pod